Thank you. So I hear you say that awareness is key, and obviously that's one thing that we're trying to do, by way of this video, and with every other thing that is being done, by the endometriosis societies and all of that. So fantastic work that you're doing, and well done. I want to ask, have you heard of what are the various endometriosis myths? Old midwives' tales that you've heard. Is that one that strikes you in particular that you can share? I mean, I know of the one that people say that, when you start having children, the pain disappears. That's what we used to be told, or we used to hear with dysmenorrhea. Or once you start having babies, just pop them out quickly. The pain will subside. So is that really true? And which other ones can you share with us?
Okay, so we've heard pregnancy, get pregnant, it's going to cure your endo.
Yeah.
Heard about if you have a hysterectomy, it grows out as a myth. We've heard that if you take hormonal therapy, it doesn't cure endo. Falling pregnant doesn't cure endo. Surgeries doesn't even cure endo. It just helps the process as of today for endometriosis. The only thing that you can do is to manage your symptoms with medications, hormone therapy, but there isn't. So if anyone's telling you, I've got several endo sisters, in our endo community that have had babies and they're still battling with the pain. It doesn't ever came up with such things. I don't understand. It doesn't. Surgeries doesn't cure endometriosis, even because sometimes people would say, I think there are two types of surgeries that we've come to know about now, procedures, the ablation and the excision. And some people say if you do the excision, it takes everything away. No, it doesn't. From the first surgery I've had up until the last one, I've had 6 surgeries so far. All of them have been excision surgeries, and I've still had to go back. And from the time I got diagnosed in 2016, from the first surgery I had, at the time, it was more so my reproductive organ. That's where I had the endometriosis. Now it's moved to my kidney and my kidney pipes. So excision, when people are saying you have excision surgery, it doesn't endometriosis. It isn't. And that's what people need to understand. It's that, and that's why we keep speaking about let's raise awareness, let people understand. We need to have more specialists, more funds need to be raised for people to, do some research to find out why is it that because to be honest with you, if you tell me I have this disease, why do I have it? What did I do or should I have done to make me have this? It's like you have all these questions and very little answers. The science themselves still can answer why we are in pain and why we have this disease. It's not something I did or should have done, or somebody did or should have done. So why do I have it? So that's why there needs to be more research, more funding, more research, and people need to understand that this is just not a bad period. People have lost their lives as a result of this. Some people from complications from surgery, some people complications of losing multiple organs because of the same disease. And it's still being looked down upon and being called a bad period. It's not a bad period. It's a whole body disease.
Thank you very much. That has answered my next question, because my next question was going to ask, so becoming pregnant doesn't cure endometriosis. So thank you for explaining that. And so if pregnancy doesn't cure endometriosis, what is the basis for these assumptions then that people make? I'm just wondering, why do people just assume that once you have babies, it will go? Have sex. I've heard people say, do. I'm like, really? We have to change the narrative, but I'm just trying to think, what is the basis for these assumptions? Do you have an idea of why?
I think some people just because you can't just say something of that magnitude without having a backstory to back that up. Like you need to, you can't just say things. So I think a lot of people just say things for the fun of it, or just for them to sound intelligent, but there is no science behind that as far as I'm concerned. I have done my research in the last 7 years that I've been dealing with this. I have not heard pregnancy. I do have several endometriosis warriors in my community that have had babies, and even during their pregnancy, it was even a matter of life or death, because they got to a position where either they had to lose the baby or lose their life. So pregnancy does not cure endometriosis. I have no idea where that came from, and whoever started that, I just think it's a very unintelligent thing to say, because it's situations like that that makes the whole process and dealing with the situation worse. Because somebody that has no idea what this is will assume, oh, just because you've had a kid, you should be fine. Or it's just like times when I've had surgery and someone go, you just had surgery a couple of months ago, why are you still in pain? It's not, the surgery is not done to take away my pain. It's just to help me manage what's going on, my symptoms, not so much about curing endometriosis. So I have no idea where that came from.
Thank you very much. So definitely having a hysterectomy, doesn't cure endometriosis, right? So I mean that makes sense, because I've also heard that men that endometriosis is an all-body disease, and that men can also suffer from endometriosis. Is that true? Do you think that can be possible? And can you just shed some light on that, if you can?
Yes, there are, in regards to men and endometriosis, it's something that I think research is still ongoing in regards to that. And there are very few cases. I think they have it in their bladder and their groin area. So I think from what I've read and from what I've seen, their cases are very few, but there are men that do have endometriosis. And if you look at it with women, it's so much like a taboo thing. Nobody really speaks about it. So imagine if women are being looked down upon in regards to that. A man would never speak up and say he's got endometriosis. So this is why we need to keep raising awareness for people to understand that. You need to speak up, you need to educate people, you need to let them know that this disease is just not what they think it is. It's way more than what they think it is. So there are men that do have endometriosis, but it's so far with research, it's very minimal, and it's usually in their groin areas, their their bladder and their groin areas. That's as far as I know.
Okay, thank you for speaking to that. Okay, so was there ever a time, or have you been told to try any herbal remedies, traditional medicine, herbs, and do you know if any of that works at all for endometriosis? Because I'm sure people watching will probably think, maybe there will be herbs. I mean, I suffered from fibroids, and people used to tell me, oh, take this, take that. There was all sorts of things that was prescribed and nothing seemed to work. So is that the same case with endometriosis, or have you found any herbs that have been known to work for it?
With the herbs, I'm not very conversant with that, but in the past I've had several people recommend several herbs to me in regards to it will cure endo, or it would help with my pain. When it comes to the ways that I manage my pain, I'm very open-minded. My thing is, I'm not only dealing with endometriosis, I also have adenomyosis, I have uterine fibroids, and I'm asthmatic. So the one time that a lady did bring these herbs to me, I took them, it triggered my attacks. So with me, herbs, I'm very, it's not something that I jump into. If I ever would try anything again, I think I would have to do that with the opinions of my doctors, because things that are triggers for asthma. So but I would want to know what ingredients are the endo, what's the story behind it, like why would you make such a statement, such a profound statement. I need to know the back leg out kind of situation. For me, it's not some do maybe out of desperation. I would want to know 100% what that's made of before I take it. So I have had people in the past reach out to me, but I was very with it. It's not something, and like I said, because I've got multiple conditions, if it was just the endo, maybe I would be more upfront with it. But because I already have other conditions that the herbs are not good for it, and then I do that, and then I end up being in hospital. So when it comes to herbs, it's not something I'm very open to. And if I have to, if you're so convincing, then you need to make me understand
Thank you very much for answering that. You've mentioned multiple conditions, and I'd like to ask you, what's the relationship between endometriosis and adenomyosis? Perhaps maybe you can talk about the fibroids separately, but interestingly, endometriosis and adenomyosis, is there a link between the two? Is there a relationship between the two?
Endometriosis, like I told you earlier, it's when the endometrial tissue grows outside your uterus. So with endometriosis, it can affect several organs in your body, but with adenomyosis, it is based on just your uterus. So now with adenomyosis, there is a cure for it. That's a hysterectomy. You have a hysterectomy, that's done. But with endometriosis, there is no cure for that. So your endometriosis attacks every other organ in your body except your spleen, while adenomyosis affects just your uterus, and it grows inside the muscle of your uterus. To say adenomyosis is like you, they both somewhat have of them. You just have to understand which one is time. But the majority of pain attacks, I try to find out where the pain is coming from and how I'm feeling. Sometimes how I do that is by documenting my pain, my daily activities and all of that, what I'm eating, what I did, and all of to kind of know where the pain is coming from. So they're both like, they're cousins. Like the adenomyosis is the big sister, endometriosis is like the that's like the easiest. Uterine fibroids. With that, I still don't know a lot about uterine fibroids. I'm still, since 2016, there is an amount of what's this called again? Fibroids that are taken out of my body. So I can't explain to you much on that because I am still trying to understand how it's possible that I have, the three conditions at the same time, and how I happen to have it. That.
Okay, thank you very much for answering that question. I hear you say that endometriosis is adenomyosis is the big sister of endometriosis. What a description.
Yeah.
What a description.
The reason I call it like that is because the only cure for adenomyosis is taking out my uterus. That would literally, taking out my womb. You know what I mean? So for me, with endometriosis, I can still, yes, it attacks every other multiple organ in your body, but with adenomyosis, it's like the one thing that I feel like as a woman, I should be able to do, you're taking that away from me. So in that regard, I sort of call it like the big sister
it's bigger, definitely. Yeah. It's a bigger battle, bigger thing to deal with, I guess, if you say that. Yeah. So can I ask what your biggest fear is dealing with endometriosis?
To be honest with you, as much as I try to stay positive and I try to push through everything, my biggest fear is continuity. For how long am I going to be able to do this mentally, physically, financially? Because surgeries are not cheap. I have conditions that require me to have multiple surgeries, and it can happen at any time. Hospital stays are not cheap. Yes, I am on medical aid, but like we all know, medical aid, it's always a mission. You pay your dues every month, but when it's time for them to pay up, it's always a fight. So you will still have to cough out something, from your pocket. So for me, it's that fear of how long. I don't want to have to do this for the rest of my life. Basically, that's what it is. Because it's a lot. Like mentally, it's a lot. Like how am I supposed to survive? How am I supposed to live? Basically, it's like everything that I do surrounds my health. Like there's nothing that I do that my health doesn't come first. At some point, I would want to take a break. At some point, I would want to focus on other things that doesn't have to do with these conditions. And that's why I need to keep speaking up about it and letting people understand where or women with this condition are having to deal with, that it's not just what they think it is. There's more to it than what we think it is.
Thank you very much. It's been such an insightful session with you, Pearl. I hear the slogan 1 in 10, and it's a number that accounts for a total of 176 million women who suffer from endometriosis worldwide. Do you think that that's a good representation of the number of women that suffer from this, from the debilitating effects of this chronic ailment? Is there a fair number or a fair representation?
I would say 100%. I would say 100% it is.
Okay. Okay.
I would say 100% it is. Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay,
I would definitely say that.
Thank you. Thank you. So last year was a very, very different kind of year for a lot of people in many ways, especially with the pandemic, with the COVID-19 pandemic. How was it particularly for you dealing with a chronic ailment in the pandemic? How was that for you? Were you able to get support? Were you able to get access to care? I heard that, you know, even cancer patients were turned back at the hospitals for some reason, because of the pandemic. So how was it finding support, going to the hospitals during the pandemic? What was your, you know, did you have any concerns about, you know, catching the COVID-19, you know, virus and all of that? Yeah. Can you speak about that, please?
Yeah. To be honest with you, that was a very scary time for me I think I spend more time in the hospital than I spend anywhere else. But when I'm in pain, or when I need my checkups, or when I need my follow-ups, or whatever it is, it was a scary time. And there were times where I would be in pain. I know I need to go to the hospital, and I wouldn't want to go because I'm scared of getting cold. It was a very trying time. I started in March. So I had a procedure 2 days after my surgery. We went into a lockdown. So I literally went every other day for them to, you know, check on everything. I told you, I'm not only dealing with endo, I also have, it was hard. I have a team of doctors that are very supportive. So times where it was tricky for me to go in, there were ways for them to send somebody to come see me at home, or send my medication to me without me having to leave the house. And so we tried to find ways to navigate. Anybody planned without even COVID, being a chronically ill, it's already hectic. And then having to navigate through COVID with that, it's mind blowing. So it was hard. It was very hard. There were times where, for instance, anytime I have surgeries, I usually would, in order for me to recuperate very quickly, the moment I leave the hospital, I like to be around my friends, you know, be around people that I love. But I couldn't do any of that. I was stuck in the house by myself, left with my thoughts. So it's easy for you to derail and start thinking about being suicidal and stuff like that. So it was tough. It was tough. There are times where I would just call my friends, like, just stay on the phone with me. I just needed, because being alone in that pain and not being able to be around the people, because over the years, I've found mechanisms in which I survive and cope. And then having all of that taken away, it's like I almost felt like I was naked. Like, what am I supposed to do? So it was hard. It was very hard. That one was difficult. But as time went on, and you know, we got to understand what this COVID thing is all about, and it was difficult. It was.
Thank you, and thank God that we all pulled through. It was really a tough one, but you know, we thank God. We thank God. So you're an advocate for early diagnosis and the importance of having a positive mindset, despite, you know, the pain that, you know, you've been through. What informs this decision, or what informs this mindset?
To be honest with you, I'm somebody that wants to survive. I want to live. I feel like I've been doing this thing with my health as far back as when I was a kid. And it's that thing of, I want to live. I deserve to live. Like, there's a reason why I'm here. So as much as I'm having to live with these conditions, I refuse to accept defeat. And like I tell my friend, there is a purpose for this. There's a reason why one person has to live with multiple conditions and still navigate through life. There's a reason I'm still here. There's a reason I have surgeries, and sometimes they lose that. I still want to live. So for that, and keeping me through all these surgeries in doing that, it's not my power. I protect my mindset, surrounding myself with people that get it, doing things that make me, not allowing my situation take the better part of me. I don't allow that. If there are times where I have surgery and I feel like I'm getting into that dark space, I call some friends, we go out, we do something fun. I hang out with a couple of my colleagues who've got kids. I go play with the kids. Like, I just do things to distract my mind and just keep pushing through life. That's just the way I've done it. For me, and when you have a positive mindset, I strongly believe that your mind determines the outcome of the things that happen in your life. Yes, I have a disease that's eating my body. I have a disease that's literally trying to take control, but I refuse for it to take control. So Endometriosis, adenomyosis, uterine fibroids, asthma, they're doing their thing on that side. I'm living my life on this side. When God is ready to give me those answers and make me free from these diseases, until then, I want to live. So for me, it's a mind over matter kind of situation. I refuse defeat. I refuse for this to become, this is what my life, no, I refuse for that. So I just keep it pushing. I allow myself to feel those vulnerable moments. I cry it out, I yell it out, but I also have to tell myself, like, that's enough. Keep moving. And that's the done it.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you very much. Obviously, your faith definitely comes to bear here. I heard you say fantastic. Thank you very much. So one thing that I know is that you've described endometriosis as a whole body experience, a whole body disease, that it involves double dosing on painkillers in an attempt to stay normal or to act normal despite the pain. And I also read in one of your posts, I've been on your Instagram page lately, and I saw a post where you said that endometriosis not only affects the reproductive organs, that it can cause severe pain. It also causes, you said, endocrinologic dysfunction, damage to tissues, including the bowel, the bladder, the uterus, the diaphragm, the musculoskeletal structures, the lungs, the liver, the nerve, ligaments, and kidney pipes. And I just thought, oh my goodness, all of this in one. How, obviously God must have put in that kind of person some coping mechanisms. Otherwise, how else would you describe being able to survive, all of this? So that's the reason that I say that you are a warrior. I've heard you say things like, some parts of the body or some body parts were resected, and I had to go on the, what do you call it, to look in the dictionary to see what it means to resect something. And I was like, oh wow, this is really, really something that we need to talk about. More people need to know about it. More people need to hear about it. So lastly, before I ask my final question, I'll ask you to describe your experience of coping with work, because you've spoken and you've said that you still have to go to work, obviously. And so how do you cope with, endo flares and work and the pain? How do you manage everything? How do you manage to keep it all together?
I'll start with your first question, talking about endometriosis as a whole body disease. So since my diagnosis, I've had multiple surgeries since then, and in the course of that time, I've lost multiple organs. So my fallopian tube and my ovaries on my left side are gone. I had my vagina, my bowel, my rectum were resected. My vulva was resected. In the beginning, it first started with my reproductive organs, and then it moved now to my kidney and my kidney pipes. So it is a whole body disease. It's not just a period thing anymore. So that narrative that people have, and they think like, no, it's just a bad period. That's not what it is. It's a whole body disease, because I have lost multiple organs, and I'm still in the process of losing more organs, because I still have surgeries that I still need to do in the next couple of months. I'm still preparing myself for that they're going to take out certain things again. So it's now gotten to the point where I have lost multiple organs. So it's not just a bad period. It's a whole body disease. It started with my reproductive organs, and now it's moving now to my other organs. And so when people are so quick to say it's just a bad period, it's not just a bad period. It's not just a bad period at all. And then in regards to with work, so like, I've been lucky and blessed, to be honest with you, because I've heard stories about other endo sisters that have, they've lost their jobs because they couldn't keep up, or they had to quit and they've had to like apply for disability because, it's difficult. And a lot of companies at the end of the day, it's more about what they're bringing in as opposed to one employee that's not, meeting up to the expectations. So with me, I have been very lucky, to be honest with you. The organization I work with, I've worked under 3 bosses, and they've been very, very nice about this. I also think it's because I've never been found wanting when it comes to my work. I'm up to date. I make sure I do what I'm supposed to do when I'm supposed to do it and how it's supposed to be done. So there has never been a question in regards to my work. They have never made me feel like I'm a burden or I'm lacking. And then also there's this amazing lady that I work with. I think if it wasn't for her, maybe I would have also joined one of those endo-sisters and quit my job, because she is the most understanding human being, the most amazing person. Like, words are not enough to express how thankful I am just having her in my life. She's one of those people that I don't want to cry. She's one of those people that she gets it. And so even times when I show up at the office and I'm in pain, she's the only one that picks it up that I'm in pain. She'll say, Pearl, go home, go take care of yourself, I'll handle you. So most of the time, when I get to work on a Monday, I usually get the work for the week. The first week, the work for the week for Monday, it's already, given to me. So what I do is I try to push. So by Wednesday, the work for the week is ready, because I never know when the pain is going to escalate and then I can't do anything. So I quickly try to do as much as I can. But in regards of the support with my work, the people I've worked under have been very supportive. And this woman, she's amazing. So I've never really had an issue. The only time I would say that it got into question in regards to my health, because like I tell you, when people see me, I look nothing like what I'm going through. You would never tell. Like, even the closest people to me still don't know when I'm having a flare up. You would never know. So some people in my office were trying to be funny, I would say. And one of them was like, it's funny how we don't get to see you sometimes. Like, you go on for like 2 weeks, no one knows where you are. We just heard that you're in hospital or you had surgery. And then when you show up, it's like you went on a vacation. And I'm like, yeah, my lifeguard walks on water. Like, it's one of those things. They try to make it seem as if I was doing something else, because I'm also not very open to them in regards to my struggle. I try to shield them away from that, because so when they see me, when I show up at the office, they have this look, nothing like that. So I've only had a few. It's been amazing. And then in regards to how I cope, I usually stuff myself with medications. That's how I cope. I just let my colleague know that, hey, today it's a hectic day for me, and I try to put myself together. But for the your breakfast is a bunch of medication. It is. So the only way I'm able to get my, being able to function at work is to stuff myself up with medications. So I time myself every 4 hours, depending on what I'm taking, or every 6 hours, to keep me together. And then when I throw myself in the bathtub of hot water, and then sometimes the pain keeps you up all night, and then the next morning you're up, you need to go to work. So it's a circle. It's a circle. You keep doing that. And like I say, imagine living your life like that.
Thank you very much for that. I'll ask my final question on a lighter mood. Can you describe Pearl-Alaere? Who are you? Who is Pearl? For somebody that doesn't know you, for someone who's never heard of you, what can you say about yourself?
Okay. Pearl is a warrior. Pearl is strong. Pearl is optimistic. Pearl is hopeful. I have battled with my health. That has been the biggest obstacle in my life since I was a kid. I have been doing this, and every day I'm able to wake up and function is a plus for me. I never used to look at myself as someone that was strong until I had to deal with this. And I have refused to be defeated, not by this. I have refused. So I'm a woman that wants to live. I'm a woman that wants to be like everybody else. I'm a woman that's hoping that one day somebody would understand that my pain is not just a bad period. I'm a woman that advocates for herself. I'm a woman that understands the gravity of what a positive mindset can do for her, because trust me, it works for me 100%. I'm a woman that wants answers. I'm a woman that wants a cure for endometriosis. I'm a woman that wants to live. And I'm hoping that in lending my voice to this cause, one day somebody will take us seriously. One day people will understand this is not just a bad period. The fact that we're able to wake up every morning and function, it takes a lot. The fact that we're able to put on makeup and try to look like everybody else, it takes a lot. I wish there are times where I tell myself, I wish I could have like a tiny recorder so that I can record everything that happens so people can really see it's not just a bad period. I'm trying to fight on my own to survive in a world that's already chaotic. Yeah. Somebody needs to give us answers and take us more seriously.
Thank you. Thank you for staying positive and for pushing through the chaos and the pain. I absolutely love you. I just wonder, I mean, it's just come to me now, that name Pearl, that name is a beautiful name. Did you ever ask your parents how they came about that name? Or was it a name that you adopted? Or is that the name that you were named when you were born? It is beautiful.
I did have another name growing up.
Okay.
And then my mom, when I was done with high school, that's when she decided to change. When she got to know the meaning of the other name, that's when she decided to change that name, and she named me Pearl.
Oh wow, wonderful! That's beautiful, beautiful. God bless your mom, and God bless your boss or the person that you spoke to at work. I know what it means to have a supportive boss.
She is everything. She is everything.
I want to say that we love her, whoever she is. I mean, she knows herself.
Thank you.
I just love her too on your behalf. Thank you to that person for being such an amazing support. It's very important to be able to have support system. And I'm so grateful. Yes. So thank God. Thank you for agreeing to do this video. Thank you so much. We have to create all the awareness that we can create. If there's any need to speak to you, maybe after this video has gone on, if there's anyone who has questions, maybe we need to do a live, we'll come back. But this is really beautiful.
Come back and do that, of course.
Thank you. Well done.
All right.